Claire Donovan stood by the window of her small home in Maple Ridge, a quaint town where neighbors still waved to each other and everyone's business was common knowledge. She pressed one hand gently to her pregnant belly, feeling the tiny flutter of life inside her, and her eyes wandered to the trees swaying just beyond the fence line. She was 7 months along. Her baby bump was prominent now, a visible testament to the new chapter unfolding in her life. Yet behind her calm exterior and the quiet hum of the baby monitor nearby, a storm brewed in her heart, one of guilt, secrets, and an aching kind of sorrow she couldn't share with anyone. From the outside, Claire's life looked idyllic. Her husband, Michael Donovan, was a civil engineer who had recently taken a job in Seattle, a 6-hour drive from their hometown. It had been a difficult decision, but the offer was too good to pass up. Better pay, great benefits, and a promise of a stable future for their soon-to-be family of 3. Michael called her every night, never missing a single day. His voice was full of excitement, filled with dreams of their future and the baby they were expecting. Claire would respond with soft words, a practiced smile, and reassurances that everything was just fine. But everything wasn't fine. Because deep down, Claire knew a truth she hadn't dared say out loud. The baby she was carrying wasn't Michael's. Months before Michael left for Seattle, their marriage had hit a rough patch. It wasn't one big fight or betrayal, just a slow unraveling of emotional connection. Michael had been stressed about money and work, often coming home late, distracted and impatient. Claire, in turn, felt invisible, more like a roommate than a wife. It was during this vulnerable time that Jason Carter reappeared in her life. Jason had been Michael's childhood friend, practically a part of the family. After his marriage fell apart, he moved back to Maple Ridge to start over. He was renting a small place a few blocks from Claire and Michael, and over time, he began helping out around the house when Michael was away. It started with small things, fixing the gate, clearing the gutters, helping carry groceries. Claire and Jason had always gotten along. There was a comfort in their shared history, a sense of familiarity that made her feel seen again. At first, their talks were casual, catching up on life, sharing updates, laughing over old memories. But slowly, those moments grew deeper. The conversations turned personal. He listened when she talked. He noticed when she looked tired. He complimented her when she felt unseen. One evening, after a particularly painful argument with Michael about his decision to move to Seattle alone, Claire broke down. Jason had stopped by to drop off some mail, and when he saw the tears in her eyes, he stayed. They sat on the porch for hours, talking, confiding, and in a moment clouded by emotion and vulnerability, something happened that Claire never intended. It was one night, a lapse in judgment that would haunt her for months to come. When she discovered she was pregnant, the guilt came crashing down like a tidal wave. She couldn't be sure, not with complete certainty, but the timing didn't align with Michael's visit home. Deep inside, she knew. Still, she said nothing. She told Michael the news over the phone, and his joy made her heart sink even deeper. He was thrilled, so ready to be a father. She convinced herself to move forward, to let the past stay buried for the sake of their marriage and the life growing inside her. But secrets, as she would soon learn, have a way of surfacing, no matter how tightly you try to hold them down. It started subtly. Jason began acting differently. He would linger longer than usual when he stopped by. His glances turned possessive, his words more confident. At first, Claire thought she was imagining it, but then he asked if the baby was his. She denied it, quickly, forcefully. Told him it was Michael's, that it had to be. Jason stared at her for a long time before simply nodding. He didn't bring it up again. Not at first. Weeks passed. Claire tried to focus on the pregnancy, on setting up the nursery, on keeping up the appearance of a happy, expectant mother. But the weight of her secret wore her down more each day. She avoided town gatherings, rarely went out except for doctor appointments, and kept her conversations with Jason brief and polite. Then one afternoon, Jason showed up unannounced. He wasn't alone. In his hand, he held a manila folder. "I think we need to talk," he said. Claire hesitated but let him in. They sat in the living room, the soft ticking of the clock between them. Jason opened the folder and laid out a few printed screenshots, old text messages, photos of the two of them from that night, things she had long deleted and hoped were forgotten. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said, "but I deserve to know the truth. If this child is mine, I want to be part of its life." Claire's heart pounded in her chest. Panic surged through her. "Jason, I told you, it's Michael's. Please don't do this." He leaned back, his tone still calm but unmistakably firm. "Then take a paternity test. Prove it. If it's not mine, I'll leave you alone forever." But she couldn't.
Not now.
Not like this. The thought of Michael finding out, of losing everything they had built, of destroying the man who loved her without question, was too much to bear. "I'm not taking any test," she said quietly. "This baby has a father. His name is Michael." Jason's jaw tightened. "I'm not trying to ruin your life, Claire. But you don't get to make this decision alone." She stood up, voice shaking. "Please leave. Don't come back here again." Jason left, but the damage had been done. The folder sat on the kitchen counter like a ticking time bomb. Claire knew it was only a matter of time before Jason would reach out to Michael. And then it happened. One evening, as she was preparing dinner, her phone buzzed. It was a video call from Michael. She answered with a smile, masking the anxiety clawing at her chest. But Michael's face wasn't smiling. His expression was hard, unreadable. "Hey," he said slowly. "Is Jason there?" The blood drained from her face.
What? No.
"Why would he be?" "Because he just messaged me," Michael interrupted. "He sent me screenshots, Claire."
Of you.
"Of him. Of both of you." Silence hung in the air like a heavy curtain. Claire's lips trembled. "Michael, I didn't mean for it to happen. I was hurt. You were gone all the time. I made a mistake." Michael didn't yell. He didn't scream or curse. He simply stared at her for a long, agonizing moment. "I would have forgiven you if you told me," he said quietly. "I could have handled the truth."
But you lied.
"You let me believe this child was mine." Claire burst into tears, her voice breaking. "I didn't know how to tell you. I was scared. I still don't even know for sure." "That's the worst part," he said. "You don't know. And you never gave me the chance to know either." The call ended. Claire sank to the floor, sobbing, the sound of the baby's quiet kicks in her belly reminding her of the life she'd complicated with one painful choice. Days passed. Then weeks.